Today on Fight Insight podcast, we will have Brendan the Cleaner Farnsworth, fresh from his victory at UNF 20. Plus, we will talk about PFL Super Fight card, the UFC antitrust lawsuit, and a whole lot more. So, Tim, hit it! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fight Insight podcast.
Our guest today is an undefeated fighter who last won at Up Next Fighting 20 just this past weekend. Ringside Rain knows him well. So Rain, let's get right to it. And I will have you introduce this man who you have introduced 3 times before.
Yep. Please welcome Brendan the Cleaner Farnsworth.
Boom.
What's up, guys?
The cleaner, Brendan Farnsworth. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, of course you're fantastic. We didn't just beat someone up on the weekend, so obviously you're feeling good. 3 fights in your amateur career, 3 wins, undefeated. How does it feel, my man?
It feels good. It feels, it feels amazing. Just, it's nice because it's like every camp is a lot of work. I put a lot of work into this. It's like my life revolves around it. So like after a fight, it's like I have a weekend of peace. And now even today, like I'm already back to where I already had a training session over at Black House, some wrestling, went straight from there to Grace University and got some rolls in. So I'm feeling great. Not a scratch either. So I'm happy I can keep training.
There you go. Now I heard that this was a quick one. 32 seconds?
32
seconds.
Yeah,
32 seconds. Couple seconds of there, it was like he tapped, like, oh, should I let this go? Should I keep it holding? Like, are you going to call it? Like, what's going on? But yeah, about 30 seconds.
Nice, man. Congratulations. I'm very happy for you, and fighting under the Up Next Fighting umbrella. That's an incredible opportunity as well.
Yeah.
For the people that don't know you, man, for the people that don't know who Brendan Farnsworth is, give us a little bit of an intro of who this guy is.
Yeah, I'm 24. I started jiu-jitsu actually 3 years ago. It was my first martial art I've ever done in my life. So I'll actually tell you guys how I got started in jiu-jitsu. It was my 21st birthday, and I think that night I watched the movie Law Abiding Citizen, and the beginning of the movie scared me so bad, where he gets his house broken into and a bunch of crazy stuff, and I was like, yo, I gotta learn something, So I just started jiu-jitsu a week later, and then I think about a month after that, quit my job and just dove into jiu-jitsu head first. And then started striking about probably like 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, and then really got serious this year with striking. So, and then MMA, of course, serious too.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, first off, that's very cool, man. Then that's a very good backstory in terms of the jiu-jitsu, because when you're realizing, like, wait a second, man, stuff can go down in this world, and like, if I am not prepared, what happens then, right? Like, yeah.
And I think it's also there's a lot of people out there, including myself, that were like, oh, if something went down, I'm strong enough to handle myself, or, I'm pretty athletic, I can do something about it. But then once you really start to learn just a martial art, not jiu-jitsu in particular, but any martial art, you realize like, oh, okay, doesn't matter how strong I am. It doesn't matter how athletic I am. Like, knowing how to fight is completely different than physical capabilities.
That's true. Very true. One of the funny stories I would say, I'm in no way an athlete like the cleaner is here, Rain, but we would train at my gym, and I dabble a little bit in everything, right, Brendan?
Yeah.
And but what I always found was like very interesting that you're right. People think like, oh, I'm a strong guy, I can do whatever. But then when you actually start doing it, you realize, and some people are so bad at like punching and striking, like you'll get people that are like definitely athletes, but then they go in and they take a boxing class, and their punches are like
it's
very awkward. It's like, have you ever watched a fight before? Like, it's like no coordination,
No.
And then the other thing that's funny is there's this one time, I always say this story because it's funny, but there's this guy at the gym, and the weightlifting side, he's like this big jack dude, you know, like big jack dude. And he starts to decide, I'm going to take some boxing. And so he starts doing boxing. He's okay, you know, but he's a big boy.
Yeah.
Probably on the juice. And then we're doing a MMA class. And so he goes, oh, I'll try that too. So then he comes over, and then during the class, they're like, okay, we're going to do some sparring. So they put him up against me. And I'm like, this kid is like juiced like crazy. I don't know what this guy is going to do. He's just going to start like wailing on me, like hammer fist. Who knows?
Yeah.
Then at the round starts, I grab him and I go to trip him and take him down. And as we're falling to the ground, I hear him go, oh no.
Oh no.
And then it's funny because then when we get to the ground, he has no idea what to do.
Yeah.
And even though I'm terrible, submission, baby. You know what I mean?
Oh,
because but that's the thing, Brendan. Like that's a long story just for me to brag about myself and to say you're right, because you might think like, oh, I'm a tough guy, I'm a strong guy, whatever. But when you get put in an uncomfortable position, or when someone does something to you and you have no idea how to protect yourself, it's very scary, man.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a very scary situation, and just having the knowledge that no matter what happens, you're gonna have an answer for something. It gives you comfort in the unpredictable,
That's true. Yeah. Now, the amount of time it's taken you to train to then have 3 amateur bouts. And mind you, for the people listening, right, they don't realize that amateur bouts in UNF, no padding, right? There's no shin guards, no headgear, no nothing.
No headgear. I didn't have any shin guards for my first 2, but honestly, it's like little rubber mats. So it's like you still feel those kicks, it's just protecting the skin.
But I mean, so you're in there. I mean, you progress at a very fast pace to get in there. UNF, it's not like you're fighting in some, schoolyard gymnasium. You're fighting in a big stadium, lots of people watching.
Yeah.
How did you, with someone with no martial arts, you said, how do you suddenly get that amount of confidence to go in there?
Just work. That's it. Just work in the Lord. That's it.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, man, like, it's very rare that I give myself a day off. Like even yesterday, I was like I didn't really train yesterday, but I was like, even then I'm still watching fights. Like I've been watching my fight on repeat. I've been watching a lot of fights from UNF, a lot of great fights this past weekend, even with the UFC. I mean, I was watching Renato Moicano win the fight before I headed to my fight. I was watching UFC fight. I was like, and my approach towards it is just, man, I do this for fun. I'm not getting paid a large amount, and so it's like the amount of time I'm putting in right now is just an investment. It's an investment not only into my future but into the present now. Like I'm already talking to Ryan on the next fight, like today, and I'm already like, let's go. Like I already got a date. I know the guy, and I'm excited to. I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm very excited to fight this guy. And it's just gonna be, it's all fun for me, like this is just, it's like a video game. It's like I'm just a character and I'm putting in all those hours in and racking up all those experience points, and then I go in there and I just, man, win or lose, it's just a great time. I'm so blessed to be able to do what I do. Very
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, some people put in a lot of time on the amateur scene before turning pro. Some people do less. At the rate you're going, what is your anticipation when you could possibly turn pro? Have your coaches talked to you about that? Like, do you have a dream there?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, there's definitely some talk for possibly next year. But I still want a couple more fights underneath my amateur belt. I'm like the next guy. It hurts me not to say anything, because like I really do.
It hurts us more.
Yeah, I'm sure. But it's a great, like, just every fight's a test, right? Like going up, like my first fight was the first fight, so you're getting through those first fight nerves. My second fight, I got a replacement fight, and I was going through a lot that camp, and I ended up kind of treating it like a short notice fight. Like, hey, no game plan, no nothing, just make weight, get in there and fight the guy. And I had a 3-round decision. This last fight was just a long camp, also just a lot of ups and downs, and it's like, cool. now I just got to showcase my ability on somebody very experienced and make it quick. Now I'm going up against somebody with even more experience and like a very good record. And it's like, all right, cool. Like, let's just do it. Like, let's just get in there and let's just believe in ourselves and, trust in the Lord's plan and get after this, because that's all I can do, just control what I can control and don't worry about what I can't.
Such a calm, relaxed, young professional, Rein.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I love everything you said.
Thank you.
Rein, you have 3 things in your hand. Brandon,
Yeah.
can you oh, okay, well, you showed it. I was going to ask him. Brandon, can you guess what those 3 cards are that Rein is showing you in her hands?
Are those the cards that you call for the fight?
Yeah, these are all the cards from when I announced your debut, when I announced your second bout, and last Saturday's bout.
Oh, that's so sick.
Brandon,
that's so cool.
Do you know that she is saving those to sell them when you become UFC champion?
Yeah? All right, let's do it. Let's get you that money.
Oh, God.
She's going to get you to sign. If you still talk to us when you're famous, she's going to get you to sign them.
You're gonna have to sign these.
And she's gonna auction them for big money, Brandon. Like she's setting herself up for the future.
Oh, I love it. I love it. You're investing. I love the investment. Let's go.
Exactly. Rein, what do you want to say? Like, so I said on the last podcast, Brandon, I said, Rein, after the event, find the coolest dude you can to get on this podcast, because we want a good guest to represent UNF, to represent the event. Immediately get the cleaner.
That's so cool. Thank you. I'm very honored.
Rein, why did you pick the cleaner?
I mean, first of all, he's undefeated, and then check out his hair. Do you still have the smiley faces?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Now, for those on audio only, now, first of all, you should be following Brendan on Instagram. Brendan, your Instagram handle I'm going to put at the bottom. It's at Brendan Farnsworth, the number 1.
Yes, sir.
That is you on Instagram. The hair first of all, on Up Next photos, it was very prominent. It looked good. It looked fresh. What is the inspiration? Your hair is bleach blonde buzz cut with little happy faces drawn all over. What is the inspiration for this?
Inspiration was, my last fight, I bleached my hair and I just kind of got a wild hair, and I was like, all right, let's bleach the hair. And then after I bleached my hair, I was like, wait a second, we can do some designs, right? And the first thing that came to my mind was like Dennis Rodman's iconic smiley face. And I was like, that's so sick. And then I remember walking around the kids class like a couple months ago, because I teach jiu-jitsu at Grace University. And I teach a lot in the kids class. I actually have a class at 4:15 today that I'm going to participate in. And it's just funny because I was walking around the kids class and I was like, hey guys, what do you guys think for my hair? Like cheetah print, like zebra stripes, or smiley faces? Maybe like one kid said like zebra stripes or something, but like everybody else was like smiley faces. I found this picture online and I was like, I'm not going to pay for it, but we're going to just get all the material. I told my girlfriend, I was like, hey, you want to put smiley faces in my hair? And she's like, if it goes bad, we're just going to shave it. And it went great. She did an amazing job. She's never done like hair or anything like this before. So the fact that shout out to my girlfriend for this hair, because without her, this wouldn't be here.
Well, she deserves a lot of props, man, because it looked good, made you stand out. Obviously now, dreams come true. You're on the Fight and Sight podcast. So, geez Louise, everything's looking up.
Everything's perfect. No, and it's funny because I was after my fight, I remember sitting there with Brian, my coach, and he was like, I was like, you know what, man? I'm so happy I got the result I did, because I bet on myself pretty hard by doing this hair. Because I was like, man, if I lost with these smiley faces, oh no, that would not have been good. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, because my walkout song was upside down. He's like, yeah, no, those smiley faces would have been upside down. And they would have, but they're right side up today, so that's great.
Nice, man, nice. Now, of course, you bring it up, when you say my coach Brian, people don't realize you're talking about T-City, Brian Ortega.
Yeah.
He's your coach. I mean, that is crazy to have someone so big in the MMA scene, so big in the jiu-jitsu scene, you know, to be able to be there with you, and that he has been, Rain tells me he has been to all 3 of your fights.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So how cool is that? And what is the relationship with like Mr. T City?
Man, just it's crazy. It is crazy that, you know, I mean, I remember meeting him and we were just kind of like, I remember because with Henner Gracie and Hito and Gracie and everybody at Gracie University, I remember just sitting in Henner's office one day and like talking to Brian and like, you know, it's like cool, you know, and then all of a sudden it's like we start training because he knows I want to get into MMA. And then really at this point we're just friends. Like we're really good friends. I mean, like I love his family and he's been over to my house and he like it's a friendship at this point, you know. He's my coach and whatever he needs I'm there for him and on and off the mat, and you know I know the same is for me as well. So it's more of like it's almost like a brothership. Like he's like an older brother that I never had, you know. So that's what
Nice.
it's more so like.
That's
So,
awesome. That's
yeah,
awesome.
no,
Now, I just have to say, you said that you're playing video games or whatever. Do you know that Brothership is the name of the new Mario and Luigi game? Did you say that because of that?
no, I didn't. I
Oh,
didn't know that.
because I've never heard that term before. And then they announced some new Mario game called Brothership, and then you say that term. I'm like, oh, I didn't know. Now, you're such a young guy that like wasn't even into martial arts. Were you into UFC before?
No, honestly, I wasn't. Like I remember, I really like besides Brian, of course, my favorite UFC fighter is like Nate Diaz. I remember watching like
Okay.
Nate Diaz fight like religiously. Like whenever Nate Diaz had a fight, I'm like, oh, I'm on. Like I'll watch that fight.
Mhm.
And
But
but other
so
than that,
did
it
you?
was like I like Bruce Lee.
But so Bruce Lee. But so when you walk into
Yeah.
the gym and you start training with T City, do you know who he is? Like, are you like, did you
At,
realize that he's that big of a superstar? Does he come over to you and say like, "Hey, I'm a very big superstar here, so treat me
no,
with
no,
respect"? No.
no. He just kind of has that aura, you know. Like he's just like, yeah, I'm there, you know. So yeah, no, it was it was just it's just funny to me because it's like, man, it's just dope, you know. It's just dope. It wasn't like I didn't treat him any differently, obviously. It's just I'm a very respectful guy to anybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care how mean you are to me. I'm just gonna like, all right, cool, like respectful, whatever, inside outside the cage, like it is what it is. But Brian's a really down to earth guy. I'm pretty chill, and we just kind of happen to cross paths and just vibe together, you know. So it's more
Yeah.
so not like me, like, hey man, can I like train with you? Can I do this? And like him, like, what do you want? You know, it's more so just like, hey man, like you're pretty cool. Come train with me. And it's like, cool, like let's go train. And
Yeah.
yeah.
That's good, man. I mean, you do have a very cool and relaxed vibe about you.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
it is very reminiscent of how we see T City like when he's around. Like he kind of gives off that kind of same vibe.
We just train, play video games, and we sleep. That's it. Train,
All right.
sleep, game. That's it.
That's awesome, man. No, I'm glad, man, that like you seem to have such a level head on your shoulder and that you've got the right path going. Ringside Rain obviously loves you. She's holding on to all your cards to make money. Rain, what do you want to ask Mr. Brandon Farnsworth?
First of all, Brandon, I feel very honored, man, to have announced
Thank
all 3 of your bouts.
Thank you.
And there's, some fighters that to me, whenever I find out that I'm going to announce them, I get really excited. And one of them is you. I
Thank you.
remember when I announced you on your debut bout, I looked back at the footage, and as I was saying your name, you actually said Farnsworth as I was saying Farnsworth. And I thought that was so cool because for someone who made his debut fight, he looked like he belonged. He had that confidence of looking at the camera and saying his last name as I announced it. I thought it was really cool. Now let's talk about your nickname, The Cleaner. Can you tell us why your nickname is The Cleaner?
Yeah. So a lot of the jobs that I've done, like I used to, before all this, I was like doing like very big in construction, and I've always been like a gym rat, right? Like I've always like loved lifting weights. And for a long time, like over like almost 2 years back in my hometown, Paso Robles, I worked at this place, Paso Robles Sports Club, and I was front desk, I was clean, I was like the maintenance guy, I was everything. And then I got into construction, moved down to LA, and I was a cleaner. I was like a very nice cleaner, but I was still cleaning up job sites. I was demoing. I was working my butt off. And then when I quit that job to dive headfirst into jiu-jitsu, I applied for a surf shop. And the same week, Gracie University had an opening for a custodial. And I said, forget that. I'm going to Gracie's, you know? And so I didn't even respond to the surf shop. I just went head first into Gracie's. And then I was working custodian there for about a year and a half. And then I became a full-time instructor and then fighting. And now I'm here. So I've done a lot of cleaning jobs in the past. So that was the main reason why I was giving credit to that.
That's crazy.
Love it.
Yeah, I was saying to Rain before, I'm like, I thought it's because you're like some sort of like assassin. You're cleaning up the dirty business.
I was gonna say there is a book called there's a book that I've read. I can't remember the name, but it was by Tim something. He's like a mindset coach for like Kobe Bryant, worked with all these great guys, and he talks about like there's 3 different types of people. I haven't read the book, but my friend has read the book, and he told me about the 3 different types of people. And there's like the starter or something. There's like the starter, somebody that does a good job in the beginning but dies hard. You get somebody that's a closer, somebody that has a hard time starting, but you call them in on like the last couple innings and they shut out the game. And then you have the cleaner. Cleaner just finishes you from beginning to end. Like there is no stopping. You know it's going to be like, oh, like when this guy, like a Kobe Bryant, the second he touches down on the court, it's like you better be on high alert because he's going to be on you until that final bell rings. And to me, it's like a lot of it is due credit to that. But I also had that in mind that, man, when I fight, I give it everything because this is, like I said, this is fun for me. And this is all I do. This is like everything I give. So when you see me in that cage, I'm going to give you everything I got, you know, and you can expect me to, you know, have like a T-City mindset in mind, like where it's like, you know, there's no quit in me, and I'm just, whether win or lose, it's like good luck putting me away because like I have that belief in myself, you know. It's not even like I have the chin, I have this, because I believe everybody can get clipped. I believe everybody, you know, everybody has their Achilles heel, but you're gonna have a hard time finding that heel in me, you know, because I'm not gonna give up.
Dude, that's crazy. Now, a little advice here from your friend Timmy B, okay?
Got you.
When you go to the Contender Series and Laura Sanko and Michael Bisping are interviewing you before the fight because they want to get to know you, and they say, why are you nicknamed the cleaner? You got to give that whole story. You got to give the fact that you're a cleaner, literally, but then you got to give that story because that's freaking badass, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like it. Rain, we've kept this man too long. He's got to go train some children's jiu-jitsu right now. Are you going to, before I ask you my final question, are you going to take a stripe away from the kid that said he wanted zebra hair? Or are you okay? You're not going to punish that kid, are you?
I honestly, like, it was between that. If you would have said like leopard, maybe a stripe away, you know, but no. No, I gave him good options. He just had to make the choice. He just made a choice and wasn't the right one, but it's all good.
All right. That's all right. That's okay. Anything that you want to say to the fans, viewers, and listeners of the podcast before I ask you one final question?
Yeah, Jesus is king.
Amen.
That's it. Jesus is king. I'm just very blessed. Thank you guys for having me on this podcast. And yeah, I hope to give you guys a very exciting fight next time you guys see me. And I hope you're announcing me in the ring next time.
I hope so too.
I hope so too. We gotta talk to Ryan and make that happen.
Yeah. We're gonna make this 4, Brendan.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
4th card.
Yes, ma'am. The champ card.
Feel free to put that in your contract negotiations, Brendan. You say.
Okay, I will.
You know what I mean?
Make sure to talk to Ryan about it.
I just want to point this out real quick. I saw that he's wearing that shirt. It's from Represent, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is such a dope
UNF.
shirt. Shout out Represent and UNF. Like,
I love that he's. Wait, would you say the back is what?
The back is so sick.
Oh,
nice.
There's a print in the back. Okay.
Yeah, what's on the back?
Let's do a full-on shout out.
Oh,
the UNF page, and it has like Represent tatted. It's so sick.
Damn.
Shout out to my Minecraft going on right now.
I just wanted to point it out because, like, when I saw my cards, the first 2 bouts that you had was actually sponsored by Represent.
Yeah, no, and like I gotta find a way to reach out to them or something, because like I love every time I get represent merch. Like I got represent merch in my bag, and it's like I'm probably gonna post a photo sometime this week about them, because it's like, dude, I want to get sponsored by them, and they're so dope. Like I love their merch. They always come out they come out with good stuff.
You know what, man? Go to their website, go to their Instagram, whatever. Something that Ashley Evans Smith told us on this podcast way back in the beginning when we were starting: closed mouths don't get fed.
I got you.
You want something, go ask for it, go get it.
Let's do it.
So do it, man. Go reach out to represent. I'd be happy for you. Last question. I'm sorry to keep you so long, my friend. Last question. It's a question that my mom used to ask me almost every day of my life growing up. So I want to ask it to you, Brendan the Cleaner Farnsworth. On a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you?
Oh, 10. Easy.
That's an easy answer coming off this fight. But in general, what makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Really, like the people that I'm around, and like just like honestly my schedule. Like the fact that I get to like run around and I get to work with such great people, and then I come home to such great people. I love my family. I love my girlfriend. Been with her for 7 years in December. And so it's like she's a huge part of it. She's a huge part of my happiness. And just this situation that's going on, the fact that I get to fight underneath Up Next, the fact that I get to do this podcast with you guys. I'm also doing a live stream with Ryan tomorrow. So it's just like I'm just happy, man. That's it. Like same thing I said in the cage, extremely happy, extremely grateful, just all the people in my life I'm very, very grateful for.
Well, Brendan, we wish you all the best, man. Obviously, Ringside Rain is always there cheering you on, cage side and in the cage with you. But, man, you've got a fan in me. You've got a fan from hopefully all the viewers and listeners of the podcast. Can't wait to see what's up next for you, man. Very exciting.
You guys. It's going to be dope. Right. It's going to be a good one.
Woo! All right, man. Have a good one. And we will see you again. We'll have you on this podcast again for sure. Take care, my friend.
Let's do it. I'll see you guys.
Right. Thank you, Brendan.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Rain.
That's awesome. Oh, my God.
What a good dude. Very nice dude. Last minute guest. We had another guest lined up for this week. His manager or whatever it is just ghosted us. I don't know where this guy is, but he is not here right now. So we will move on with the show. We have next week, we have potentially a UFC fighter who has reached out, wants to do an interview. I also, Rain, there's a story going around regarding the UFC antitrust lawsuit. Do you know about this thing?
I've read about it.
Do you understand it at all?
It's like, I'm a little confused about it, to be honest with you, but they reached a settlement, right?
Well, it's a settlement that hasn't passed the judge's approval yet. But do you understand what they're suing for?
Well, what I read about is that they're suing for money that they could have earned, right? If it wasn't for the UFC contract that they had.
I guess.
Right? Okay.
But I think it's more than that, because you can't, you signed a contract. And they paid you the money that you signed the contract on.
Yeah.
So it is very confusing what their lawsuit is about. It talks about the monopoly that UFC created in the industry, which I think is what they're saying is that, so then because they had a monopoly, they could pay me less.
Because they have control over the industry.
Because
that's what they're trying to point out, right?
Because there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
It's very confusing. So I've reached out to lawyers, I've reached out to fighters, and I've got 2 good leads on a guest. One is one of the plaintiff lawyers on the case who will come and explain things, which I was just speaking to them today. Another one is one of the fighters who is one of the main plaintiffs. Now, I'm shocked that either of those 2 would come on, because I would think that you're not allowed to talk too much about what's going on. But
they said yes.
I would love to have it. Here's a little note. Like you said, they reached a settlement. It did say that it was just last week. They said that the UFC reached a new settlement in one of its 2 antitrust lawsuits. Thursday, TKO Group, the UFC's parent company, reached an agreement with the plaintiffs of the Lee versus Zuffa case, that's Kung Lee, that will pay $375 million in the class action lawsuit in which former fighters alleged that MMA promotion violated antitrust laws. If you recall, there was maybe about a few months ago, they reached a settlement of $345 million, which the judge said no. So the judge did not allow them to settle for that. Now they've increased it by a mere $30 million. So will the judge allow this? We shall see. I think one difference too, is that this is for only one of the two lawsuits, whereas the first one I think was for both. So maybe that's the difference. I don't know. Anyways, I really want to talk about that issue, but I'm too dumb to explain it. Like, I don't get it. And I don't think anybody gets it, because when I see things online, Rain, like people are all arguing about stuff, but I really feel like they're even dumber than I am.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I don't know.
I'm a ring announcer. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't really know how to explain this.
I'll
announce the result.
Hey, maybe you could go into the courtroom. The settlement has been reached, and then you can announce the settlement. Here's another thing that I got into a somewhat of an argument about with someone online, and that is this here from the UFC.
Was this from this past Saturday?
That is from this past Saturday. That is good old Aylin Perez from the Goat Shed, Argentinian fighter, I believe, who continues to twerk over the bodies of her opponents. So, Rain, this girl, who I've bet money on every time, and she keeps making me money, so I'm very happy. The twerking thing is getting a little excessive.
I mean, people are cheering for it. I mean,
and I know you love it.
I guess, like, for me, it's like, it's a fighter's way to show personality.
Yep.
And if the crowd's like, entertained by it, people at home are entertained by it,
yeah,
then why not? I mean, it adds to, I guess, like, her value, maybe her fan base, and and like we talked before in the podcast, you can't just like fight. You need like a personality. You need like a character that people can like see and feel like, oh my god, yeah, like, oh my god, this person is so fun. Aside from fighting, this person can be like this happy or energetic, and like it attracts people's energy, and I support it. I don't mind it.
Yeah, even though her mother and kid were in the thing in the crowd.
I mean,
it's very sexual. It's very sexual.
I mean, yeah, but like, to me, I guess, like, to me, again, if she wasn't allowed to do it, she would have been told already to not do it.
Oh, yeah. So here's the thing. I really wanted this person to come on the podcast, and I would have taken your side of the story to debate with her, or I would have had you debate against this person. But here's what they said, though, because I said, this person, after I said, oh, this was a great job, this person chimes in and says, she needs to do more than be hot and win a few to be respectable. And I said, well, 4 in a row is more than a few. She's training at the Goat Shed, seems to be working. The weight cut, she missed weight. And I said, okay, the weight cut is a big no-no, but we'll see how the next one goes. And I said, I was channeling my inner ringside Rain when I said this, because I don't even really believe in this too much. But I said, I appreciate the confidence and bravado that she exhibits, leaving comments about the sexual stuff aside. It makes the lead up and the fight interesting, which is more than we can say for many people, which I think is what you're saying, right? Like, hey, you're bringing attention to this.
And for me, it's like, to me, I get the whole side of it being sexual, but to me, I find it like entertaining. Like this girl's having fun. People put whatever meaning they want on anything. You can look at a tree and call it like sexual, because in your head, it could be sexual. That's just how I see it. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So anyone can look at this as like, oh my God, like, it's very vulgar. Why is she doing these dance moves? Oh my God. But on the other side, again, my point is, if UFC did not want her to do this, she would have stopped a long time ago.
No, they probably want her to do it.
Yeah, because to me, I think it adds to her value as an entertainer, right? Because I feel like UFC has evolved from just being a sport. It's now also part of sports entertainment, even though
It
it's still
is
like
not.
to me, it's like it is a real sport. I'm not saying it's
I
like
know, I
sports
know, I know.
entertainment like wrestling, but to me, I feel like that's why fans, especially in the world of social media now,
Yeah.
you want something that would like, really catch you, right? And
Yep.
I think
And that's what this girl is doing.
yeah, fighters like her would really catch people's attention, and that's the entertainment value that
Mhm.
UFC has now, and that can be seen not just on TV, not just, what if it's just a pay-per-view that only people who had paid for the fight could see? This is something that
Yeah.
people can see on social media, and she can get attention through that too.
Yeah, for sure. And look, again, I was taking your side in my argument with this person. But then this person goes on to say, this person was doubling down, tripling down on her hatred over this person. She goes, I wouldn't call good performances over meh opponents impressive. Also, Goat Shed lines up cans for their fighters if anyone bothers to look up who they fight. And when you factor in that she's a terrible role model, literally had her kid in the room while she twerked on Paulo Costa in front of her boyfriend / husband. So this person really is not appreciative of this. Of course, it's a female saying this, so I think there's a understanding there. You know what I mean? Most men are not chiming in on this because they're just like, keep twerking. We love it. But it's an interesting debate. So I do want to have that debate at some point too. But there goes Aylin Perez winning Timmy B some more money. So hey, do whatever you got to do.
Did you twerk when you won the money?
Did I twerk?
Yeah.
Yes, but there were no cameras. But yes, of course I did. Freaking, I'm winning money, man. Of course I'm doing it. Here's another thing. There's just a bunch of news things. First of all, go buy our t-shirt, will you? Go buy our shirt.
Yeah.
Hold on. Millions.co. Go buy our shirt.
Yeah.
Link is in the description. Rain. The Battle of the Giants. This is the PFL Super Fight card, where Ngannou is fighting Reinier Ferreira, the 2023 PFL heavyweight champion, and Cyborg is fighting the 2023 featherweight champion, Larissa Pacheco. Now, Rain, I put this card up here because this thing is the stupidest thing on the planet. Okay? This is the PFL Super Fight division, which we have talked about because we said, like, who the hell are the people are going to fight? Super fights to me means it's got to be like crazy shit. Like, I want to see Jake Paul fighting. I want to see Logan Paul. I want to see, I don't know. I want to see Dana White fight Chatri. Like, I want to see crazy things.
Dana White versus Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah. Or Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg. Like, that should be on the Super Fight. I don't know. Nobody knew what the Super Fight division was. But we get Ngannou versus Reinier Ferreira, which I don't really care too much about because the belt is a made-up belt, the Super Fight belt. Then you get the featherweight Bellator champion Cyborg fighting the Larissa Pacheco again for a fake Super Fight belt, which I don't know what that is. And then in the meantime, Cyborg's not defending her Bellator title for the past year and a bit. The third fight on the card, Rain, this is where I started to get really mad, but the internet was with me on this. It's Johnny Eblen, who is the middleweight Bellator champion, defending his Bellator title against Fabian Edwards, who is a Bellator fighter, Rain. These are
also Bellator versus Bellator.
It's a Bellator fight, a championship fight. Why is this on the Super Fight card? Makes no sense to me. Wait, before I say that, is Fabian Edwards a Bellator fighter? I think he is.
Let's ask Wikipedia.
Yeah, really quick.
Yeah.
I swear
Bellator
he is.
MMA, that's what it says.
How fast did you do that? I did not edit that, people. How did you do this?
Oh, because I have the fight card in front of me.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there you go. Okay, so he's a Bellator fighter, right? Yeah, he fought in the last, oh my God, like 12 Bellator fights. Since 2019, he's been a Bellator fighter. Rain, Why is this on the Super Fight card? Why don't you put that fight on one of the goddamn Bellator cards that have no title fights? And then you go down the card, and I got bored looking at it, but it's just Bellator fights, I think. Who is on the card, which I'm very excited for, and which I would watch, is our friend Rafion Stotts. He's on the early card. He's the prelim headliner.
Yeah, let's go.
So there's him, Rafion Stotts. He was so funny on the podcast. If you didn't see that episode, he was like one of the funniest dudes ever. But I think he's fighting a Bellator guy too. And I really want to get Rafion back on the podcast because I want to go like, dude, why are you on this card? First of all, I'm super happy for him. I'm happy for Rafion because he's now on a pay-per-view, not on some random Bellator card. So I'm really happy for him. And he's on the prelims, so it makes sense to me. But once you get to the main card of that thing, it's got to be super fights, which is strange to me. And if you recall, Rafion Stotts said he would fight Ngannou. So I think he's on the card because he's going to pull some shenanigans and challenge Ngannou, even though Ngannou is about 200 pounds heavier than him.
Hey, I mean...
Jump that cage, Rafion. Get in there. Get in there and challenge Ngannou. Very strange, Rain. What do you think about that? About having mostly Bellator fights on the Super Fight card?
You know, I feel like since I started in the MMA industry, I've seen fights getting changed almost every day. And maybe this wasn't the original card. Maybe the original card was a PFL fighter versus a Bellator fighter, and things happen. And then now you got a Bellator fighter versus a Bellator fighter. You can't just cancel it all because you can't.
But Rain, I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's almost 8 of the 10 fights seem to be Bellator fighters. I think this guy that Rafion is fighting, his last 4 booked fights were all Bellator. I don't know what. I mean, I could go and research the rest, but I got bored of it. All I knew is that right away, I'm like, why is a Bellator title being defended on a PFL Super Fight card when you've got Bellator cards dying for championship fights? Why wouldn't you use that title fight to headline an event and hopefully bring viewers? Instead, the last event they had was 2 women fighting not even for a title as their main event. Yikes. Seems weird to me. But I hope Rafion gets some good money for this too, because he's on the pay-per-view. That's got to be better.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
And then he'll come back to the podcast. We can talk to him after he wins.
Yeah. No, I want him on before.
Yeah. Oh, before it? Okay. Yeah, so we can do the good luck for him.
Yeah, exactly. Because last time he went out and beat that Danny Sabatello guy. All right, here's the last thing I think for general news of MMA world. Here's this guy, Rain. Do you know who this is?
That's I don't know how to pronounce his name. Is that the guy who's going to make his UFC debut, right?
That is. Wait, do you know this just because of Instagram stuff?
Well,
or did I tell you?
You told me about it.
Oh, shoot. Okay, if I did not tell you, would you have recognized that guy? Probably not. No, he is Reinier De Ridder. He's a Dutch fighter. I think his nickname is the Dutch Knight. He was a former 2-division title holder, concurrent title holder in ONE FC. Rain, this is the guy that Timmy B said that UFC should have traded Karate Hottie for 2 years ago. When this guy was hot, I said trade Karate Hottie for that guy. Because Karate Hottie was not doing so great, but she's Asian. She still had value in the market. Trade her and get that guy because that guy was a hot prospect. You know what happens to him now? He lost both his belts against the same guy, Anatoly Malikin. Loses both his titles. The second title he lost, he literally just gave up in the middle of the fight. He just wouldn't even get up after he was, and it wasn't that he was knocked out. He literally kind of just sat on the ground and just was refusing to get up. Really bad loss. Then he parts ways with ONE FC. Then he goes off to some other division and gets some win. Now the UFC has picked him up. I think the UFC is going to like, I think the UFC wants this guy to lose in the UFC.
I don't think so.
Yes, I think they want to show that even one of their unranked guys can beat a 2-division ONE FC guy. They have him going up against Gerard Mearshart, GM3, who I do not like because he beat my friend Bam Bam Barberina. But that's not an easy fight. And I feel like Dana White is like, we're going to make this guy lose to like a guy who's not even close to getting a UFC title. No offense to GM3. And I think once that happens and he loses badly, I think then they just cut him.
I don't know. I think the match.
Hold on. While I say that, I should have put up my sign.
What's your sign? Oh, oh God.
My conspiracy of the week.
Timmy
UFC
B's conspiracy of the week.
Week. UFC has signed Reinier De Ridder and put him up against GM3 so that GM3 can destroy him, show that a 2-division ONE FC champion is nothing in the UFC, and then they will cut him.
I highly disagree. I don't think so.
Just watch. Watch how good this clip ages when it all goes down, Rain.
I think that matchup was made because I looked at his record, and he has like 11 submissions out of what? He has 17-2. Yeah, out of 17 wins, 11 of them are submissions. And he's fighting someone who sits third all time for the most submission in the UFC history.
Yeah.
So,
hold on. So you were saying Reinier De Ridder's record, right?
Yeah.
What did you say again? How many wins?
So he's 17-2 with 11 submissions.
Okay.
And then the guy that he's
I'll be the GM3 guy. 37-17 with 29 submissions.
Yeah.
So he has a better finishing rate by submissions, and he has, I gotta do the math real quick here, 54 professional fights. This guy is no slouch. How old is Reinier De Ridder? Do you know? Can you figure that out quick? GM3.
He's 28 years old.
GM3 is a young 36.
Okay.
The mustache makes him look about 47, but he's 36.
Okay, versus a 28-year-old Dutch Knight.
Yes, but he's got 54 professional fights, and he's well versed on the ground. So this is what I mean. You have not taken this prospect in Reinier De Ridder and given him a pure striker or something like that. You are not setting this guy up for a win. That's for sure. Conspiracy of the week.
I don't know.
I'm telling you, Rain.
Want to put him to the test right away.
Yes.
I'm excited to see it.
Okay, well, it's going to be in the Apex in front of 0 people probably, so who cares? But that's exciting. I just see a lot of interest in that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know that guy would have been able to command a lot of money, and I don't know that he would have had a lot of power in the negotiation coming off a win, but prior to that, losing both his titles. And I think UFC would have a very hard time selling him. You can't bring him in and go, he was a 2-division champion, because then everyone will go, yeah, but he lost both of those belts. Like, it's not like he had both of them and walked away. He lost both of them badly. So that's interesting. I don't know how you sell this guy without facing the backlash. Or if you just ignore that and you just on the broadcast, you just say he's a former 2-division champion and you leave it at that.
Yeah, maybe he'll just do it that way.
Well, and nobody's going to know because nobody watches ONE FC. But for the 6 people watching this podcast, Rain, at least we all know this guy.
You know, Dana White once said on the Dana White's Contender Series show that he doesn't care about what you have done outside of the UFC. What he cares about is what you do inside the UFC. So yeah, you might have like the best record outside of the UFC, but what if you didn't really do well, right? Once you get there, then how is that going to matter? Or what if, for example, in this case, you have some unfortunate situations that have happened in your career And then
Yeah.
I feel like him going into the UFC, and if he does do well on his debut night, then that's going to be a fresh start for him.
He's not doing well. Timmy B's making a lot of money betting on GM3 on that one. He is not going to do well. GM3 is going to slaughter this dude. Send him packing. That's that. I'm telling you, that's what's happening. Let's see. Friends of the podcast update before we go, Rain. Obviously, our friend Anthony Romero.
And still.
Did you announce that?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I announced him, and oh my God, I felt really honored to announce that bout. That was it was a bloodbath, but it was a great fight.
You said it was one of the best fights you've ever seen.
Oh yeah, live, yeah. It
Mm.
was crazy. It's like watching like a movie. Like
Nice.
It's crazy. Just like, and then the amount of respect that they had for each other after. I thought it was really good because it's, they're all like bloody and like messed up faces, and then you see them just like showing respect towards each other. Congratulations to Anthony Romero, but also congratulations to his opponent, Brandon Michael Spencer. What a battle, man. It's
Nice.
crazy. And our other friend of the podcast, Jesse Strader, also fought. However, unfortunately, he did not win at UNF 20. But we'll for sure see him again at some point.
On his Instagram, Jesse Strader was very positive after the fight, saying that he learned a lot and blah, blah. He seemed to be in very good spirits. And so I was very happy for him. I reached out to him, send him some love as well. He's a good dude, and I can't wait to see him. Rain, this week on the Contender Series, not a guy that we have had on the podcast yet, but he's a big Fight League Atlantic guy. I believe this is the first Fight League Atlantic athlete to get on the Contender Series.
Really?
Christian Tiger Savoy. This dude is a killer. I love him to death. He's a great, great man, a very good man. He's got the look. He's got the style. He's got the voice. He fights on the Contender Series. All the best luck to him, man. I think this podcast will come out after he's fought, I think. So let's just send some retroactive good prayers to this dude if you're listening to this podcast, and let's see if Christian Tiger Savoy comes out with the win. I mean, freaking so cool if this dude makes it. And I know it's his dream to get there. He deserves it, and wishing him all the best.
Yeah. Oh, and also another friend of the podcast update, Taco Padilla was at UNF 20, and it's for a great reason because we gave Taco an award to show our appreciation of him representing UNF, him representing, our city out here in California in the big stage, the UFC. He's been doing well. And honestly, I saw Taco at our weigh-in show, and I told him this story. I told Taco, hey, Taco, the first time that I met you was at this arena. And he asked me, he said, do you train? I said, no. I said, I can't do that. Like, I'm too terrified to do that. He said, what's your fight stance? I said, Taco, I don't have a fight stance. I have a ring announcer stance. And he said, no, just do it. Just try it. Give it a shot. It's okay. You'll never know. And that's why I started, trying out different classes. And now I go to a Muay Thai gym. And I told him that story. And I said, man, you never know who you can encourage, just like by being positive, showing great energy. And I was able to tell that to him in person. So congratulations, Taco. Keep doing a great work.
Congratulations to Taco Padilla. And you know what? You were right. He's a very motivational guy. The reel that I made on after his episode came out was a very motivational thing that he did. As most of the fighters when they come on this podcast, they're always very motivational. But yeah, I remember that was the clip I made of him, was that he's putting in the XP and leveling up, similar to what Mr. Farnsworth said today on the podcast. So congratulations to Taco Padilla. Did it come with any free tacos? Did you give him? No.
No, I wish we had free tacos. No.
He deserves free tacos, man. No, congratulations to him. Rain, that is it for this week's podcast. I think, I appreciate our guests coming on the show this week. Of course, we will keep continuing to get great guests as best as we can.
Yep.
I forgot when he messages you, when Brendan messages with you with the gyms. let him know. Say, hey, can we get T City on this podcast?
Yeah.
Make sure ask him. I wanted to ask him. Shoot, yeah, just say like, hey, like, how cool is he? Like, would he come on the podcast? Like,
He's really nice though. Like the like all the times that I've seen him, he's very, very nice. This past Saturday, after I announced Brendan, T City was in a cage, he was actually on crutches. And that's how much he loves Brendan, man. Like he actually went inside the cage, and to show his support to him after he won. And I remember I tapped his shoulder and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" And he's just all nice. And congratulations again to Brendan. And I just want to say thank you to all the UNF fans who showed up at our event. It's a very, very special one for us because it's our 20th show. I met a very, very special MMA fan who went to her first MMA event. And it had to be Up Next Fighting, and she was so amazed to see a female cage announcer. And it was that moment and to me, it was like, man, I'm actually like inspiring little girls out there. They see me inside that cage, and it's like I remember the look in her face. She was just amazed, and I'm gonna keep doing what I love to do, man. So thank you, Up Next Fighting. Thank you, NF, for making my dream come true.
Of course, making your dream come true and inspiring other people to have a dream as well. That goes for you. That goes for that little girl. But that also goes for the fighters and all the people that now have a dream that they can achieve by having organizations like Up Next Fighting out there, right? Similar to like Fight League Atlantic, like Christian Tiger Savoy, like he's grinding it out in Fight League Atlantic, and then now he's got his shot on Contender Series. Like all these people that get these dreams, it's crazy. It's beautiful. But now you got to be careful. You got to be like Joe Martinez. Like you should have told that girl, like, don't try to become a cage announcer because it's my job. Go something else.
She's actually training in Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that, we took we had a picture taken. So hopefully one day, I get to announce her and introduce her like that.
Can you imagine? That's gonna happen. That's going to happen. All right, guys, we are out of here. I said we would do a short podcast and then we go the regular time.
This is like shorter than usual.
Yeah, maybe a little bit with the editing. Yeah, it'll be a little bit shorter. Anyways, all right. Thanks, guys. Rain, have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.